Hi, my name is Steve DeLilla. I am going to be talking today about the roles of a special educator, or at least what I believe the role of a special educator should be. I believe one of the biggest components of being a special educator is compassion, advocacy, and creativity are the main things that I really feel a special educator needs in their tool bag. I think that compassion at the forefront of what we do is what you need. From my own personal experience, you've got to really learn not to take things personally, what we do, because these kids don't always mean what they do or what they say. It is tough to not take it personally sometimes, especially when a kid gets physical or violent or starts yelling or cursing or whatever. It's tough. It's really tough to take those things and brush them off and keep going throughout your day and not have any biases towards that child. It's extremely hard. I've been there, and you've just got to learn to brush it off. I can tell you my very first day in a special ed classroom, a kid asked me to tie his shoe. I had him put his shoe on my thigh, and then he, over the top, popped me in the side of the head. I didn't see it coming. He wasn't having a behavior. It was a preferred thing he was asking for, which was just to have his shoe tied so he can go out to the playground. And he decided, for whatever reason, that was his course of action. Of course, there were consequences for his actions and things like that, loss of privileges or whatever it was, for whatever time length it was. And that was my first day. And I haven't looked back at what I've been doing, which is why I'm here now. The other real thing is advocacy. I mean, we are, other than the parents, that kid's biggest advocate when we're in that building. We spend more time with them sometimes than the parents actually do. I mean, they're in our care and custody for 8 to 9 hours a day, depending on if you guys have like 4 or after school programs for them to have. And, we see them when they're at their very best, and we see them at their very worst. And those things go into account, when you're looking at IEPs or behavior plans or feeding modifications or whatever. Because a lot of times, you could tell mom something, she'll be like, really? I didn't know that. Or I didn't know they liked that. Or I didn't know they wanted to try that. I had a kid that just graduated this year from my middle school and that I work in. And mom had no idea that he could do art really, really well. And he was actually featured in the art show. And she picks up her son every day. And I made a point to make sure she got to come in and see the art show at the end of the day. So she got to see his work. So, and I went to the principal and I advocated to make sure that happened. Because it needed to happen. Because oftentimes these kids don't always get to show where they shine. And mom had no idea that he liked to color and paint. And I said, whenever he gets stressed out in class, I give him a crayon and some paper, and we sit there and we doodle for a bit to make sure that, we ride out whatever we're feeling, and, I let mom know. And, the school kind of knew about Keith's artistic ability because, again, we're there all the time. But advocating for him to be part of the art club and advocating for him to have those opportunities was something that I took and spearheaded because I just saw that ability in him and that it was a calming thing for him. Another thing that I just want to touch on briefly is reflection. I don't know if, as educators, we take enough time at the end of the day to decompress and look back on our day and see what it is that we accomplished and where we can be better tomorrow. Personal experience again, I can tell you that this year when I was with the teacher in my classroom, we took about 30, sometimes 45 minutes at the end of every day, and we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly of what our day was. And what can we do tomorrow? How can we make things better? Because we had such a wide range of kids in our class. We had verbal, we had nonverbal, we had autistic, we had emotional disorders, we had the gamut in this class. And trying to make everybody gel and keep everybody happy, safe, and calm was not always an easy task. But we did. 99% of the time, we rocked it. And our kids were learning and growing and having an awesome school year this past year. But I don't know if it would have been as effective if I didn't have those one-on-one sessions with the teacher at the end of the day where we talked and game planned about, man, this worked, this was awesome, what can we do tomorrow? This didn't work, what can we do better or instead of? And, we as a group made sure that everything kind of gelled. The one thing I really did appreciate was my teacher would take the time to talk to me and be like, hey, I think you did this, could do this better, we can try this tomorrow. And then she would actually ask me, she's a 30-year plus in special ed, and asked me, what do you think I could do better? which I thought was, crazy because, this is not, it's not my first year, but I am newer to the building. And the fact that she wanted to hear from me was refreshing, and she took what I said to heart and did make changes in whether it was behavior or attitude or the way she talked to some of the kids. Those are, the qualities that I think I have are, advocacy and compassion. And I think those are two big things that I have in me, to go forward as a teacher. What I do think I need to work on more is time management and probably organization. I do have a tendency to talk a lot. I also have a tendency to kind of forget if I don't have my schedule, what's next, what's coming up, who's got what pull out or special activity for them to go to, because I'm focused on the classroom stuff. So sometimes that stuff does escape me, and it is something that I'm conscious of. And I try to keep a small schedule on my desk, so I know where all my kids are, where they're going, and things like that. But it is something I'm conscious of, and something that I am trying to work on going forward so that I am more organized and more prepared. I'm also trying a little bit better for balance between work and home so that I am present in both fully. It is not always the easiest task to balance those things, especially now that I'm adding school into the mix, but I try, and I think I'm not doing a bad job at it so far. But it is a work in progress, as is everything else in life. Nobody's perfect, and everyone can improve and be better tomorrow than they were today. Personal biases. Tough thing to talk about, because I feel like we all carry around some sort of baggage with us that, clouds our judgment or, just makes us second guess certain situations or certain people. And I don't know that it's a good thing, but, obviously some experience in our past make us do that. For me, I think my bias is I have a tendency to listen to other people. And I mean that by listening to the gossip. Schools are full of it. And I think that's one of my problems is hearing about certain students. So this one's trouble and this one, watch out or, whatever. And I'm trying not to do that. This year, there's actually a student that I had this past year. She was rough. I had seen her be very physical or hurt people intentionally in prior years in my building. She happened to fall into my class this year. And of course, going in, apprehensions, I had that bias that she was just this troubled girl that, was a problem. And I went in there with a whole bias on, man, this kid is just going to be rough. My year is going to be terrible. And it rolled in like that. But Maddie she quickly stole a little piece of me because when I found out more about her background and things like that, I realized that there is a reason that she was like that. And I adopted the policy of kill them with kindness. And I quickly became someone that she respected and someone that she could also come to if she was having some problems. She actually flourished this year. She sang in chorus, she joined the dance team, she became a leader for the most part in our classroom, and she was generally a pleasure to be around and actually became the highlight of my day. I was talking to her or being her one-to-one for a little bit throughout the day, and she still gave other people attitudes and problems, and it became a thing where I had to go talk to her to be like, hey, let's knock it off and let's go back to class and let's make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing. And that's just tough. It made me feel accomplished that I had gotten through to her because she actually started thanking people for things when they would do something nice for her, which is a huge thing for her. It's one of her things that we were working on during the year was her social emotional stuff, and the fact that she was able to get that by the end of the year, extremely satisfying. But when it comes to biases, I think the best advice I can give on biases is don't judge anyone until you've walked a mile in their shoes. You don't know what someone's going through, you don't know what anyone's doing, and everyone's entitled to a bad day. So walk in there, open mind, open heart, and just be the best person you can be and a role model for the kids you're in there with, because they pick up on everything you say and everything you do, and body language is a big thing too. So you just gotta roll with it and try to be the best person you can. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time.